Hi guys, what's going on? Welcome back to 100% Mags. Of course, this is the match preview for the game against Luton, of course, at St James's Park tomorrow. It will be a 3 o'clock non-televised game. It's a sold-out game, as always is the case with Newcastle United's games. Of course, Luton selling out their entire allocation of 3,188 places. Following, of course, losses to Nottingham Forest and Man City, we are bidding to avoid a trio of successive Premier League home defeats for the first time since January/February of 2021. Luton, however, have failed to win in any of their last 14 visits to St James's Park since a 2-0 FA Cup success back in 1973. In the league, however, Luton have left St James's Park with maximum points just once in 23 visits to St James's. That one time was back, of course, in September of 1937, so a very long time ago. So Luton fans, of course, who might be watching, hopefully are watching, will be, of course, hoping that they can get something positive out of this game. But looking at the way, of course, we're going into this game, we did see that Jason Tindall took the duty of the press conference this morning instead of Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe apparently has got an illness. Hopefully that illness will be gone by tomorrow. If not, then we'll probably see, Eddie Howe taking a little bit of a step back on the sidelines and Jason Tindall being more vocal on the sideline for Newcastle in the game tomorrow at St James's Park. But just like Eddie, Tindall gave very little away, but he did confirm that Alexander Isak hasn't been ruled out of the game tomorrow at St James's against Luton, and he didn't rule out Callum Wilson and Harvey Barnes neither, saying that they also have a chance of being involved. That is great news to hear that Harvey Barnes is in availability of getting in, a chance to play in the game. It's nice to hear, that we are getting these lads back. We are starting to see some players coming back off of that injury table, which is nice to see because we need to get some bodies in there. We are looking a bit depleted at the moment with players, dropping like flies. Alexander Isak did look like he was going to be out for quite well, but Jason Tindall there, in the press conference today saying that he hasn't ruled him out of this game. So we'll see, what happens when the team sheet comes out. Hopefully we'll see Alexander Isak's name on there. We'll see Wilson's name on there. Hopefully we'll see Harvey Barnes' name on there as well. With Joe Willock, of course, he said not too far away from coming back into the side as well. On Nicky Pope, however, he said they remain out alongside the likes of Joe Linton, Matt Targett and Elliot Anderson. We did see Elliot Anderson in a video recently doing some darts competition, so who knows, might not be that long until we do see Elliot Anderson getting back into the fold of things, and of course Sandro Tonali is out because of the ban. Moving on to the news, of course, on the Luton side of things, for the Luton fans watching, there could be a debut for Japanese international defender Hashituki. Sorry if I have pronounced that wrong, but there could be a debut for him in the team after he completed a transfer from Belgian side Saint-Truiden on Tuesday. Luton come into the game unbeaten in their last 6 league and cup games, 2 draws followed by 3 successive victories, the latest of which was a 4-0 slaughtering of Brighton at Kilnworth Road on Tuesday, and Elijah Adebayor hit a first half treble in that game, so he'll be coming into this game firing on all cylinders, and it will be, of course, our defenders' jobs to stop Elijah Adebayor from getting that ball in the back of the net. On the VAR and the referee side of things, it's going to be, of course, the ref for this game, Tom Bramall. Second Newcastle United game of the season for the Manchester-based official after a 2-0 Premier League home win over Burnley. I've got to say, I think he was one of the better referees, if it is the referee I'm thinking of. He was actually not too bad of a referee. So, hopefully we'll get a little bit more of the same from him. And on VAR, it, of course, was Michael Salisbury for VAR. That's who it will be on VAR. So, Michael Salisbury on VAR, Tom Bramall on the refereeing duties. And looking at the stats of Luton, it's St James's, of course, in the last few times they've been here. The most recent one being the 17-18 FA Cup game, where, of course, Newcastle won 3-1 against Luton. I believe I was actually at that game with my dad. And Jose Perez scored 2 goals in that game, and John Joe Shelby also scored in the game as well. I believe there's a video up on the channel, of course, of the match day vlog from that game if you want to go check that out. But before that game, you have to go all the way back to 93-94 for when we played them most recently, of course, other than the 17-18 campaign and this game this season that we played against them, of course. And that was a 1-1 draw back in 93-94, of course. In the FA Cup, Peter Beardsley scoring from a penalty. Then 92-93, of course, in the Championship, we've seen, of course, Newcastle win 2-0. Of course, in the game, Clark and Kelly scoring the goals in the game. Luton at the moment, as it stands, recording this video, of course, on the day before the game, Luton are currently 17th, 1 point above the drop zone, of course, ahead of Everton, who are in 18th place. And we are 8th, 3 points off of Man United, who are just ahead of us in 7th, and 4 points off of West Ham, who are ahead of us in 6th, and 11 points off of Villa and Spurs, who, of course, occupy 5th and 4th place in the Premier League. So we've got a little bit of ground to make up there on Villa and Spurs, but I'm sure, looking at the fixtures, what we've got, and the news that we are starting to see some players coming back in to the fold, like Harvey Barnes, Alex Isak as well. We're starting to see these lads coming back into the fold. So I think with all that being said, it's going to be pretty positive run, hopefully, to the last legs of this Premier League season. We've got not that many games left now. We're in the final run towards that last game of the season, and let's try and push as hard as we can to get into Europe once again. Could it be Champions League places? Hopefully. But if it's not, like I've said on many occasions already on previous videos, if we can get Europa League or Conference League, I'll be happy with that at the end of the day, because it's still Europe, it still gets extra money in the coffers, and we get to go, and have a chance of winning a cup. And I mean, look at what West Ham did in the Conference League. If we do end up getting Conference League, that's a big possibility that we can go all the way to the final and win that. If a West Ham team that were fighting relegation can go unbeaten in that competition, then a team of our stature, our ability, that we have, should be able to do just the same, in my opinion. But let us know your thoughts anyway down in the comments below. I don't want to ramble on too long. Of course, the transfer window closed yesterday at 11 p.m. And, of course, the only signing we got to see come in the doors was Alfie Harrison. Of course, I did a video yesterday talking about Alfie Harrison in the news that Newcastle confirmed the deal, of course, for the young lad from Manchester City. If you haven't seen that video, I suggest you do go check it out, and please do consider hitting a like, share and subscribe as well whilst you're at it. And of course, we did see some players depart. Isaac Hayden departed to go to QPR. A few youngsters departed as well. But other than that, only the one incoming in the few other players departing, the youngsters and some players like Isaac Hayden and that departing from the club to go on loan. But let us know your thoughts anyway down in the comments below. As always, remember to hit like, share, subscribe, 200% mags, and I'll see you all for the next one. Oh, well, lads.